Okay, so I took this out to a private road at a friend of mine's to see if we could calibrate the Speedo. But because the Speedo and this operates off the transducer on the motor, and we have sprocket ratios and the wheel size. Now the only thing I can adjust on this is a wheel size, but with the sprocket ratios, we're not getting any sort of an accurate speed. So we're going to have to install a separate speedometer. So we have purchased from Acewell Speedo for the motorcycle, and this is Australian Design Rules approved, so it's approved for on-road use. It comes with all the electrical drawings and other information about the Speedo and how to set it up. I bought a nice little shroud for it. Comes with cables and a magnetic front wheel sensor, so I can accurately calibrate this Speedo down to the millimeter of a circumference of that wheel. So you can adjust it spot on, or you can have it set so that it's reading a little bit above your speed, which is what you're supposed to have. And we're going to fit it on the bike, on the dash down here. So a bit like the BMS on that side, we'll mount the Speedo on this side, which is approximately where the Speedo is positioned on the original motorcycle. And once we set that up, that'll give us an accurate measurement of our speed and meet the Australian design rules, which will make the motorcycle compliant. So let's get going. Alright, so I've fitted the nice carbon fibre shroud, so that's going to look pretty good once it's mounted into the bike. Now this kit came with the outer piece that has the indicators and everything on, but they sent me this one because they didn't have just the Speedo. So I've cut a piece of cardboard to fit in there, and use that as a template for the screw holes and the big hole where the cable's got to come through, but I won't do one that big. Just so we can mark the holes in the dash here, so we've positioned this into the exact spot we wanted it. Oops. And we've drilled the 3 holes. Now there's nothing in behind here, so we're clear in behind. There's no cables or anything going to be in the road once we fit it, so we won't have any trouble with that. So let's drill that out so we can fit the new Speedo. So there we go, we've got the holes drilled for the new Speedo to fit in. So we've got a 25mm hole in the middle for the cables to go through, and 2 6mm holes for the bolts that hold the Speedo in position. So we'll mount that and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so there we go. So it's mounted on the dash now, so that's where it's going to sit. So I'll be able to see it clearly while riding the motorcycle. Apologise for all the reflections from the overhead lights, but that's what it's going to look like. So now we can start connecting the wiring. Now the easy way would have been to just take all the fairing off, but that's time consuming, so I'm just trying to lift the dash forward and then try and get in and connect all the wires behind. So I'll see how I go with that. Yeah, okay, so I caved in. It was going to be too hard to try and conduct microsurgery and try and find all the wires I need under here to connect to the new Speedo. So I've taken just the front piece off and the mirrors, and that'll give me easy access so I can attach it properly, not damage any of the wires or anything underneath, and get it all operational. So we'll find the supply and the switch supply and connect it all up. Okay, so I've got the battery power and ignition power to the Speedo now. We've just got to connect up the sensor next. This is what it's all going to look like, but for some reason in video mode it doesn't show up, so I'll put a quick photo following this video. Alright, so we've got our Speedo turned on at the moment. We've got one of the magnets up here that'll work with the sensor that's in my hand. Now there's a couple of spots on the sensor, there's a couple of lines on the side there, so the magnet can run on this side, so I can cross over there or there and you'll get a reading on the speedo. Or you can put it on the end, which I think I'll choose to do, so I think I'll go for the end, and then the speedo will start reading as you go past the magnet. So we're going to put the sensor down on the side of the wheel down here. It'll sit in approximately here somewhere. So one of these nuts will either have a magnet on it, or I can actually get a magnetic bolt to replace this bolt here, which will activate the sensor. And we've got some aluminium strap that we can bolt in here and bend it up so that we can get the sensor perfectly aligned, and everything should work perfectly. Alright, so to go with the sensor, they give us a 6mm magnetic bolt and a magnet. But the 6mm isn't any good because the bolt I took out where I want to put the sensor is an 8mm bolt, and that is one of the 6 bolts for the front brake disc. But I did find another nice solid 8mm bolt, and what I'm thinking of doing is drilling this out so that that single magnet can fit into there, so we can fit it into there and then glue it into place, and that'll do the job. You can buy the proper bolts, but we'll give this a go and see if we can make it work with what we've got. Alrighty, so we've got the magnet here, and I just drilled an 8mm hole into the head of this bolt here, which will screw in where the bolt came out from the brake disc. So should be able to now put this into there. Oh, oh. I don't think it's going to fall out again once it goes in. There we go. So there we have a magnetic bolt, and that's not going to fall out. Don't even have to glue it in, because just the fact that it's a metal bolt, that magnet's jammed in there nice and tight. I can get it out if I want to using another magnet, but I think that'll do the job nicely. So let's get that fitted, and then we can set up our distances from the sensor. Alrighty, so we've got our new magnetic bolt fitted. So we're going to fit the sensor here, and we'll mount it on some aluminium through these 2 bolts here to hold it into place so it's nice and firm and absolutely cannot move. So we'll cut up this aluminium strap down the bottom here, drill some holes in it, and put a bit of a bend in the middle of it so that we can get the right angle so it lines up with the bolts. So that probably, yeah, I think we still need a good angle, so we'll get the right angle on it so that it lines up with the bolt as it goes past, and leave about a 5mm gap. Okay, so that's it there now. So we've tapped the 4mm screw holes and got it all ready to go. And we did make it curved to start with, but found out once it went into position on the bike and where the sensor sits, the sensor sat better up here in this position. So we're going to fix this on here and screw the sensor into position, see what it looks like. Alright, so that's our little bracket all done up. Might try and get some washers to put between the plastic and the spring washers, but that's nice and sturdy there. It's not going to vibrate or move around. We've got a 5mm gap between our homemade magnetic bolt and the sensor, so that it should work perfectly. So next thing will be to work out how we're going to tie the cable up neat so it doesn't flap around and move, and then we can test it. Okay, so we've got the speed sensor fitted permanently to the bike now, and we've just cable tied the cable up the back of the fork and then follow the brake line up to behind the dash where it plugs into the Speedo. So now that that's all done, we can put all the fairing back on. Okay, so I've had to turn all the lights off. We're getting way too many reflections to be able to see the Speedo. So hopefully we can see it now. So I'm just going to turn it on. I've got the front of the motorcycle jacked up so we can spin the front wheel, and we should get a reading on the Speedo. Spin. There we go, so that's all working now. So next thing is to measure up the wheel and calibrate the speedo and take it for a test run. Okay, so the motorcycle's all back together again, and we've measured the circumference of the front wheel and got a measurement of 1,870 millimeters. So we've entered that into the speedo as the calibration number and taken it out on our test track for a little bit of a run, and we are getting a reading 2 kilometers faster than the actual ground speed, which is pretty well spot on for where we want to be. So now I think we can continue to move forward with the rest of the compliance for this motorcycle.